Welcome to Ignorance Unleashed with your host Salvatore Cavalieri. In just 10 minutes, enjoy no-nonsense insights with a dash of humor and absurdity. Approved by his psychiatrist and wife because they agree he needs this outlet.
Hey. So today we're going to continue with the series about the 12 economic factors or growth factors that you need to look at before you buy a property. So you need to do your homework. Do your homework because it's going to prevent a lot of headaches down the road. So right there, you're going to see the 12. Okay, so let's go over those quickly. But today's topic is about population growth. Or not growth. Okay, so the two sides. So before you buy anything, you need to make sure that you check all these 12 factors at least, okay? You need to make sure that they're good paying jobs in a variety of good paying jobs, not one particular industry. You need to make sure that you have highways infrastructure. If the particular property is impossible to get there, you need a boat, you need a plane, you need a donkey, you need a capybara, to be on top of it, then maybe it's not the good thing. Okay? Airports. The airports create jobs, not only inside the airport, but also outside. And I'm talking medium to high side airports. Smaller airports, maybe not that much, okay? Very specialized, but bigger ones. Okay, ports, the same thing. Ports is not only the nice port that you see everybody coming down, smelling like they have a lot of rum the previous night and they haven't digested that. And also they have a Hawaiian shirt, but also a port creates jobs inside. Of course, you have the cranes, you have the cargo moving in and out of ships, but also around it. You have export-import companies all around it, creating jobs and supports. Is a great near location to have it. Check out the port of Pensacola in Florida. It is one of the most gorgeous ports I've seen, in the combination of living and business together in that particular location. It's one of the best I've seen in the United States. Not even Seattle was like that. Not San Francisco. Okay, no. New York, no. Good. Check that out. I think it's because of the size of the city is not that big. It's just gorgeous. Okay, the next one, schools. Families like to be near good schools. Good schools drive people to move in or out of a particular location if the school zone is not well run or well managed. Okay, safety. Hey, you want to get out of your house and you don't want to be mugged like in many cities now in the western part of the United States. And that's the reason you have people moving out of those states and going through the center of the United States, or going, to Texas and of course, Florida. Okay, gladly we have a lot of states in the middle that filters a lot of the people. Okay, because some of them, they come out of that state with a mentality that they put those politicians in there because you put them in there, very likely, a lot of them, and then, oh my God, the shit hit the fan, let me get out of here. Oh, but you left your mess right there, right? Okay, so safety is extremely important. Actually, for safety, this is, I think, is health as well, what I'm going to say. They created an app for the city of San Francisco where you can track the fresh poop being left on the street by the people that don't have houses. You may not have houses, you may have a medical situation, you have a mental situation, but some of them may not have anything of that. And I have an issue with that. If you have a health, if you're elderly, you need to be taken care. Something is going on for you, and my heart was with you. But some of them, I don't think so. And they're pooping all over the place, making a bathroom outside a business who's paying taxes. No. So safety is extremely important. You want to have your property, your investment in a place that is safe consistently, meaning you need to look if consistently the people of that town has voted for the policies that keep safety high. If you go to a town that's very, very nice town, you go there, oh my God, this is gorgeous. But the mentality there, it is that anything goes, then you're going to have safety issues and you're going to need a poop so you don't step on shit. Okay, that is not the way to run a city or to have a business nearby or to own real estate. Okay, so next one, health and medicine. We all get sick, we all get into accidents, sadly. So we need to be located, the property has to be located near the hospital. If you need to drive 40 minutes to get to hospital because you got a nail on your foot and you're bleeding, you're gonna die by the time you get to the hospital. Okay, so make sure that you live within those boundaries. And if you have an emergency, you know how to get to the hospital quickly. Okay, entertainment. Entertainment is extremely important because if you work hard, you want to play hard. But besides that, entertainment measures the level of disposable income people have to spend locally in restaurants, in bars, in cinemas, in amusement parks, and things like that. Okay? Now, if you have a property that is located near entertainment, if the economy goes into a recession, that means that you need to watch out because people then don't go to the restaurant 5 times a week or 3 times. You just maybe once because the rest of the time they eat out of a box at home that they bought at Costco. Okay? So entertainment goes with some degree of care or watch out. Natural factors. Okay, natural factors means, well, okay, fine, gorgeous property. Okay, yeah, what a beautiful little river is the same little river in front of it, and then the rain comes, and this river becomes alternative. There you go, you cabin down the river, down that way. So you need to make sure that natural factors in a river or the ocean or the mountains with so much snow or dirt that can fall on top of you. Okay, so make sure that the natural factors are considered throughout the 12 months of the year. So not only fall in love when you go on this property in summer and let's go and travel. Yeah, check it out. Check it out in January and February just to see if you can survive. Even penguins will be out of it. Maybe you like it. Okay, but that means that the length of production that property generates income is very reduced. If you're okay with that, go for it. Okay, but maybe not. Population growth, that's the topic of today. I'm going to skip it. Let's go now. Let's go to access to food and market. That's very logical, but people don't think about it. Oh my God, this is a gorgeous plot of land. Okay, yes, where do I get my tomatoes? Well, you need to drive 40 miles. Okay, 40 miles to get the tomato, one way, and 40 miles to come back. It is like that. You need to make sure that the access to food and market is close by. I would say 5 miles, 10 miles at the most. Okay? Otherwise, the quality of life of that place becomes really more scarce. There will be more scarce opportunities to rent. Okay? Now, with that said, let's go to the last one here. Is the level of commercial and residential occupancies or vacancies. You can see this both ways. Meaning, let's say, for example, you drive around a town and you're seeing one shopping center with 10 shops and 9 of them are empty. And one of them is moving, is closing now, moving out. So that means that probably the town, has some kind of recession. There are some small towns in the United States that they had a major employer, like in the mining or in the mills, and also the sugars as well, where that business just moved out or just closed or just reduced the amount of employees, and now the town is dead. So before you invest in, you need to do a good research in the town, see what is available, what is not available. If there is a high or a vacancy in residential, and you drive around and you see those managers and specials, first month rent free, last month rent free, no security deposit, we'll give you money because we love you, no pet, you can put a cow inside the premise, okay, a motorcycle leaking oil into the living room, it's okay. And then all that crap going on, that means that probably is going to a recession. Is that a bad opportunity or a good opportunity? You can look at it both ways. Okay. Most people will stay away from this. It takes a little bit of more skills in order to wipe this. But anyway, with that said, let's go to population growth, meaning population growth or contraction. Actually, is the two ways to the coin. For example, if you go into a town and if you see that the town has roads being built, infrastructure to process water being built. If you go to the city and you go to the development department and you ask them, what is your plan? What are you going to do new to this town? and they tell you we're expanding the highway, this highway, we're adding 2 lanes here and 2 lanes there, and we're doing this and we're doing that and expanding. So guess what is going to happen? You're going to have a population growth, which is positive, and then you can get early into this game and take advantages of the population growth. You don't want to be in a town where everybody says, crap, I want to move out of here. Most notably, a big city is Detroit. I've been to Detroit, and I took a helicopter ride in Detroit, and I flew over it. It was interesting because once I was Canada and the other one was Detroit. Anyway, this river in the middle for it. Anyway, you saw majestic properties empty. There used to be job centers, all gone. Guess what happened to Detroit? One of the 12 elements we covered before, which is jobs, good paying, variety of jobs. Actually, I'm gonna add it here. Variety. That's, it doesn't misspell. Variety of jobs, finally. Okay, you know that English is not my first language. Okay, so stop saying bullshit right there where you are. Okay, got it. So you have a variety of jobs. Now in Detroit, you had one particular industry, which was the car industry. So when the car industry said, crap, I need to compete with the Japanese that they produce a car that's practically indestructible, especially Toyota. Okay. And then said, crap, our cars, they fall apart within 6 months. Sorry, guys, this is the truth. You know, American cars back then, they have improved. Okay. So they have to outsource. So all these American companies, they need to produce somewhere else. They start sending out pieces, stuff like that. And the town of Detroit was decimated economically because it was one major job center, one major industry, which was the car industry. You need to have a variety. For example, Orlando had this problem for many years, which was the capital of the best amusement parks in the world. There's no doubt. There's no other place in the planet with better amusement parks than Orlando, especially now that they have more parks opening and expansion, stuff like that. There's a lot of money being pumped into the economy here, well, which is awesome. But Orlando, for many years, it was strictly, amusement park world, and people saw it. And for years, when I was talking about investors, you says, well, why am I going to be right next to an amusement park? Because some of the wise ones saw that the variety of jobs is extremely important, and therefore, if there is not a variety of jobs, there is no population growth, which is the topic of today. Okay, so but Orlando changed. There's a variety of jobs being applied for different industries. Aerospace, you have military as well. You have, including AI, being invested in some part of the southern part of the counties here, south of the amusement parks, right there, which is going to drive population growth of variety of jobs that go there. So if you saw Orlando, saw that the development, the economic development department of Orlando saw that years ago that economy was weak. Just consider one industry. If that industry went to recession, which happened in the past, people were not doing so well. Okay, actually, if you look at the last example, when we had the pandemic, well, a lot of hotels were not operating. Actually, no hotels were operating. The amusement parks were closed, and still the economy kept on going, especially in the northern part of the city where you have universities, you have research centers, the development, you have space, aerospace, and stuff like that. The city kept on going. It was very painful. And now, if you look at the news, if you explore opportunities, Orlando is attracting more and more industries of diversified origin into the city, which gives a better base of jobs, which drives population growth. People move because they find jobs. And the quality of life is good. The other 12 factors, the other 11 factors I mentioned earlier. So population growth, it is extremely important. And you can foresee those by talking to the Department of Growth that cities have. We're going to have different names, by the way. Now, so you have a lot of growth and you have cities that are not growing. most notably that I mentioned earlier was Detroit, and some others in the western part of the United States are losing population by the roads because they don't find it safe. Okay, and and the infrastructure is falling apart and things like that. So they're moving out of it. Okay, so population growth, it has to be looked at. One important thing is I want to mention: there are certain cities in the United States, they don't care. They really don't care about population growth. They may not tell you in your face, but it's the kind of town that you go there, nothing happens, everything stays the same and all that. There are some notorious high-end neighborhoods in Florida, especially near Palm Beach, okay? Let's say Wellington itself, okay, let's say the name, I don't care. There is other towns, like, for example, was Pebble Beach in California. Well, it's gorgeous, but if you go to the development center in the development office of that particular town, they're not much into development. They're satisfied to what it is because the population of that particular location is satisfied to what it is at that point. Okay, they just don't care about you bringing a project with 200 units. They just don't care about, developing a shopping center. They just don't care. They just don't. Because the people in that town have expressed that need. They don't like cranes, they don't like dirt, they don't like expansion, they don't like that. Well, just to tell you something very personal, I used to live in Wellington, which is in Palm Beach County in Florida. And Wellington has not grown much. If you go there, it's a gorgeous town. Okay, mostly driven by the horse industry in terms of polo. A lot of polo going on in there. The western part of Wellington, you have the eastern part of Wellington and the western part of Wellington. And the 441 is right there. Okay, so it will be kind of west of 441. You have a lot of properties where you can go and see a house, it's a gorgeous house, and then you see another great house next to it, and the next house next to it is the house for the horse. Okay, if you are into that, fine. Okay, so you see that in that particular community, they just don't like expansion of roads and stuff like that. Just the minimum going on. There is I don't know if you have developed it. I haven't been there in a while paying attention, but the last time I went there, there is a property 441 in one corner. There is a shopping here where you have one of those fancy markets, etc. For the name of it, there's of course a Starbucks right there. So this gorgeous piece of land, several developers presented to the city, and I participated into the public presentation of those projects, of that project, into the population of Wellington. So it was an open meeting, of course, of the city, and you have the mayor and all the politicians sitting there, and you have the different developers. I believe there was 4 developers showing their plans and stuff like that. And that particular empty lot, I think it's a church on the very back. Don't remember. So right now it's a cornfield of some sort, and that is kind of the last large plot of land in Wellington on 441, which is a commercial avenue that these developers wanted to develop, and they presented to us. I remember a mixed use. You had some townhouses, some offices. 3 or 4 floors of offices to attract jobs, and then you have also townhouses. I think it was another one wanted to build like a botanical garden along with some shopping and then also some offices. It was mixed use, drivable, walkable, human like. All projects, all 4. Actually, when we went to the meeting was filled. The room was filled. I don't know, probably 100 plus people in a small room, all of them. And they were chanting. They were upset. They didn't want anything done. They were all protesting and all that. Nothing satisfied the population of that town. Nothing satisfied them. I was for it. I wanted to see the plot of land develop because I knew that Wellington doesn't have any particular jobs. Most of the jobs that you have there are in the service industry, the typical service stuff that you see. A lot of some of medical, because there's a lot of wealthy people living there with age, living in Wellington, but there's no other source of jobs in there. In the city and the people that live in there, they don't care. They don't look They think that by bringing revenue, that bringing new businesses, their tax is going to go up. I just don't see that logic. I think if you have a variety of jobs, increase the value for everyone, but also it makes it more appealing, increases the value of the property, actually. But they just don't want to do that. They don't want to have the dirt and all the stuff. So going back to the meeting, it became like a small riot. People had some nasty comments. There was even an attorney there saying, that the horses, you don't know what you're talking about because I know where the horses eat their stuff in, where they poop the stuff out. Really nasty stuff going on to prevent the development of that plot of land. Move the clock 15 years later, still that plot of land, 6 months ago or less, it went by there, still that plot of land undeveloped. Still, all developers just run away. And some of the projects they presented in front of us were gorgeous projects. So meaning that there are certain towns that because of the population wishes, they don't grow. They don't move. That's the reason. That was one of the reasons I moved out of Wellington. I said, fuck this place. And it was the best decision. I even bought a property back then that 15 years later, the price that I paid for finally matched the price that I paid for, because there is no jobs in there. And also, that particular community I was living on, they changed the laws, and they didn't want renters. They restricted a lot of crap going on. Okay? So there are cities that they are against, or they don't care. They won't tell you I'm against growth. They just simply ignore it. You will go there now, 5 years later, 10 years later, 15 years later, 20 years later, is the same stuff. You don't want to be there if you want growth. You want to be there if you want to live. If you enjoy that kind of laid-back world where you don't see anything progressing, fine. But this is a great example of Wellington. So, and we have friends there, but that's why we expanded the business into Orlando, because Orlando is growing by leaps and bounds. And actually, a lot of money came out of Palm Beach that went into Orlando because of all the stuff that I'm mentioning here that's going on. So a variety of jobs, highways being built right and left. You have an amazing airport. The Orlando airport is going to be one of the top 3 in the nation. It's going to displace Miami for sure because it's plenty of space to expand. You have the port here of Cape Canaveral. It's mostly, I would say, 90+% tourists. But it's not going to be tourist all the time. There's a project to expand the cargo portion of it. You have schools, a variety of schools. The top schools in the state are here in certain part of these counties, here in the central Florida and northern, and a few good schools in South Florida. So it's kind of scattered. Safety is safe around here. Things like that. So population growth is driven by the economic factors and also by the pushback that you get from citizens to particular cities where they don't want to see growth. Okay? So I wanted to spend a little bit more time on this one. Actually, I'm going 23 minutes and I don't care. It is extremely important. When we made the decision we have an office and presence in Palm Beach, and then we set up shop here in Orlando, it was one of the best decisions we made in terms of business, because the city here is growing. Instead, the Palm Beach and specifically Wellington stay the same. We still have clients and services there, which they do what they do. They have a certain property. They want to upgrade it to something of 1 million to 3 million. That's the way it goes. They're happy. If you ask them where you want to invest your money, 95% of them invest somewhere else where you have these factors going on, most notably Central Florida. Okay, so this is a fact. Make sure that you do your homework in population growth or contraction, and also what is the mentality of that particular city in regards to growth. Because you may be the most progressive person in terms of growth. Progressive is a bad word, actually. The most growth-oriented person but the city and the people in the city, the citizens of the city are pushing back, you're screwed. You're screwed. I had a mentor, Rick Mariansky, years ago that I met when I was living in Wellington, and he asked me, "Hey, let's put some numbers here. Just find out the growth of Orlando. I mean, of Wellington versus other counties or cities." He did that. He said, "Salvatore, if you don't get out of Wellington, you're not gonna grow." And he was 100% right. I grew my property management the moment I went into Orlando. If I would have stayed in Wellington, would have not happened. So why is this useful to you? This is useful because you need to make sure that the city, and I'm going to say it again, the city and the cities of that city support growth. If they support growth, that means that properties are going to increase in value, infrastructure is going to come in, and the growth of the investment, the equity that you do is going to keep going up. Okay, not down. So stay away from cities where people are just content with their life. Okay, if you really want to make money.